be in the house. Joe, how long should a presentation last? Some agents say it should last 20 minutes and they're gone. Some agents are there for 2 hours. What do you think? Every client is different. Every client has got different wavelengths. Your day could be one of those days where you're Mr. Chatty Catty, Miss Chatty Catty, and you want to go more in detail and talking. So to me, I'm going to say a minimum presentation is a minimum of 45 minutes. I've been there an hour, I've been there an hour and 15 minutes. It just depends. So when you're visiting with a client, think before you speak. Don't just start rambling things off. Have some substance in what you're saying. So when I say think before you speak, have a game plan, have a plan mapped out. I'm going to talk about this, I'm going to talk about this here, I'm going to find out why they sent the card in. I'm going to find out if they've ever been to a funeral before. If they have, what do you think it costs? Do you have insurance now? So you're asking them questions, and a lot of this stuff is on the little survey sheet, excuse me, that you can go over and extract all the information from them by asking them questions instead of asking them directly without the little paper in front of you. When you have this paper in front of you, my suggestion is to write the answers down, and as you write them down, peek at them, they're going to be watching you write the stuff down. I think the paper serves 2 or 3 good, come on in, Jimmy, 2 or 3 different reasons. It helps you out, keeps you in a direction, keeps you on a roadmap forward, and when you're writing the answers down, what it does, it gives them a good feeling that you're hearing them, listening to them, and you're writing down their responses, and it makes them feel more comfortable and safe that the decision you're going to make is based on what you're writing down, not what you're going through on memory. Speaking with a client. How do you speak with a client, Joe? What do you mean, Joe, speak with a client, not to them or not at them? Speaking with a client is you're going to come across a little bit softer. You're going to ask more open-ended questions to where they're able to give you an answer back. So if you go to a client and you give them a direct question where it just only needs a yes or a no, not that there's nothing wrong with that at times, yet when you ask open-ended questions, you're allowing the client to speak with you as well. What happens is that a client feels uncomfortable if you're trying to shove something down their throat. If you go to somebody's house and they say, yes, Joe, I sent that card in, you say, fantastic, what I'm here to do, I'm here to go over with you, and this is not going to cost you that much. How's your health? This is what's going to cost you. You can't talk that fast. You got to slow down. You got to take your time. You want them to engage with you as you are engaging with them, to where it's kind of like playing tennis. You want to go back and forth. You want to hit them a lob shot, you want them to hit you a lob shot back. When you want to give them like a strong hard ace, you're going in for the close. If they miss it, you got to say, is what I'm saying making sense to you? Is this the avenue you wanted to go down? Is this the information you wanted me to go over with you? Is this acceptable to what we're going over? So it's kind of like going back and forth in a nice tone and a nice speed. If you feel them kind of spacing out, slow yourself down. That's times you kind of get off the interstate, calm down, and bring them back to where you are. Example, if they got the TV on in the house, you're not going to win. So you got to learn to turn the TV off to where the TV doesn't win and you're in complete control of their mind and their ears. Breaking the ice with a survey sheet is probably the easiest way to do it, because the survey sheet is going to have something as, you know, their date of birth, their age, what's the main reason they sent the card in, you know, who will be in charge of your arrangements, you, your wife, your kids. You have children, great. How old are they? Where do they live? So what you're doing, you're gathering information for offering them a program for the children, a child writer, or maybe visiting with them to talk to them about some coverage. Have you ever attended a funeral? Whose funeral, whose service was it? Do you have any idea what it cost? Was it a traditional funeral, cremation, graveside, or are you undecided really what you want to do? Do you understand Social Security only gives you $255 if you qualify? Do you have a place you want to be buried at? Do you have the money in your savings account? How much you think it's going to cost? How's your health and medication? So this paper is going to take you down a list that's going to help you out. It also has on there, who do you have your health insurance with? Do you have any type of hospital indemnity plan? So you're setting up yourself to speak about more things instead of just one thing, which is final expense. Breaking the ice with them, I want you guys to go slow. I want you to have eye contact with them. I want you to kind of like be speaking with them as relaxed as possible. Because what happens is that you're a stranger in their house, they've never met you before, they've never seen you before. If you made an appointment, they heard your voice. Your assistant could have made an appointment, your appointment setter could have made the appointment, you could have door knocked. You're a stranger in their home, and now you're trying to get their social security, their date of birth, their driver's license number, their information for their checking account. You want them to tell you all about their health. So the only way for a client to feel comfortable doing that is that they got to trust you. Their trust meter with you must go up every second you're there. And every now and then it's going to go up and you're going to say something silly or wrong. It may come down, but then it's going to go back up because you get yourself back on track. The more trust the person has with you, the more possibility they're going to buy with you. The more confidence you have when you're speaking with them, that is going to enable their trust meter to go higher and higher. 4, when you're engaging with them in a conversation, people want to feel that they're part of making a decision on something they're going to buy. Some people want to be told what to buy. Some people want to say, listen, you need a policy for $10,000. This is what you need. Based on your age of 62, you're going to need one for probably 15 or 17, because life expectancy for a woman is 82, a man is 80. All these statistics are for you in the back office for you to bring out. So some people want to be told what they need. Some people want to be instructed what they should buy. And some people don't like that. So that is a feeling you got to get when you're in the home with a client. Am I going to dictate what they're going to get? Or am I going to speak with them, give them opportunities and options of what they want to pick to do with me? That's something you got to decide when you're in the house. When you're having a conversation with them, you got to kind of go back to, you wanted this information, this is why you sent the card in. And you need to always kind of tap back when you're speaking with them. Yes, this is the reason why you sent the card in. I totally understand. I'm so glad I'm here today to help you out. Remember, if you sit and get nervous, as we all do, and you're saying, why am I going out in left field? Because what happens, sometimes they'll say something. I don't know about you guys, but ADD kicks in for me sometimes, and my brain just goes out in left field. So what I got to do is I got to just stop. Don't tap my brakes. I got to hit my brakes and say stop. Let me re-engage what I'm doing. That's why it's kind of nice when you're starting out to have a little roadmap on how you're going to go through your presentation. Meaning with the hello, how did you find out about us? Was it a card? Was it a phone recording? Was it a Facebook? Was it a direct mail? Have all this stuff written down, and a lot of times when you're going down, you can be making notes on these papers here and put a line across. So if you do sway to the right or sway to the left, you can look back at your little cheat sheet and see where you were. They're not going to get upset with you because it's just the way it is. But you got to realize, and you got to think when you're going out in left field, how to bring yourself back. And for me, a lot of times it's just to stop. Okay? You may say, you know something, I went into a little bit more detail than what I normally go into. I apologize. Let me get back on track because I know you're busy and you got stuff you got to do. Figure out something that makes you feel comfortable to say, if you say anything. If not, you don't have to. Or just kind of just go back and start all over again from the point that you think you made a boo-boo on. Everybody, I don't care who it is, when you make a decision, it's an emotional one, it's a financial one, either out of a need or a want. So our job is that we've got to find the reason they sent the card in. We got to find out if it's something that they need, is it something that they want, is it something they've been told they had to buy. So we've got to hit on their emotions to let them know that the reason you're there is because they sent the card in. They either have no coverage or they don't have enough coverage. We got to go over them why they should get more, why they should need more, even though they don't want to pay for more. Do their kids have the money to pay for it? You have an opportunity to go online to local funeral homes around where you live and do a print, that's called a general price list, that if you go to a funeral home, they have to give it to you, and it's going to give you some cost factors on what it costs for a cremation, a simple burial, graveside, traditional, a wake, what it costs for everything, and you can have all this mapped out, highlighted out, and say, listen, funeral home down the street from you, there's one here, there's one here, and there's one here. This is the approximate cost what it's going to be. Because right now, I go to a house and I say, you know, Miss Jones, an average funeral today is $10,000 to $12,000. They'll probably believe you. Yet, if you really want them to believe you, is when you're telling them that there, say $10,000 to $12,000. And the reason I say that amount there is because I've gotten 3 general price lists from 3 different funeral homes around us. And this one here is $10,200. This one here is $11,300. And this one here is right here at $12,000. And when you show it to them, you go, bam, this is the cost that it's going to be. Now they hear it, and now they see it, and it makes what you're saying more believable. So what you're doing, you just increase your trust meter, okay? Because what happens is this here. People have an idea of what it's going to cost. They really have an idea. But yet the idea they have is usually not enough of what it is. People feel that if they die today, $10,000 is enough. Yet if you go to a house, you're speaking to somebody who is 60 years old, life expectancy, let's say 80 years old for just an even number, they got 20 more years for the cost of a funeral to go up. Casket, opening, closing, the labor at a funeral home, the labor at a cemetery, the hearse, if they're not police escorts, all those costs go up. So what we got to do is say an average funeral today is 10 to 12, yet based on your age, you might need 15 to 20,000 because you're still young and you're very healthy, and we have no idea when that day is going to come. So what I want to do is kind of give you some ideas, give you some different options, and then from there we're going to sit and speak about what you feel comfortable that you feel that you need. Because we know that they may want the 20, yet they may not want to afford to pay for it, but they may not want to pay for that amount of money, because in their mind they can't justify spending $77 a month for something that they're not going to get nothing out of other than peace of mind. So that's really the only thing that they're going to get out of buying something from you is peace of mind. You got to hit on that peace of mind. The reason I'm here today is to give you peace of mind, so when that day comes, your children don't have to worry about this here. So you need to ask questions about the kids. You have money in savings, Mr. Jones. 90% of the time, they're going to tell you no. The other 5% are going to tell you, well, I've got some. And the other 5% is not going to tell you nothing. And they're going to be kind of standoffish. So my job today is to let you know that either you can make a small payment every month, or when that day comes, your kids have got to make a big payment of $15,000 or $20,000. And if they don't have it now, they're probably not going to have it then. And the beauty about it today is that your price is locked in today, whatever one we agree on. The face amount, 10, 12, 15,000, 20,000, is locked in today. There's a cash value that grows every single day as the policy's there. Once you qualify for it and your health changes or you get older, everything is locked in. Once you have it, they cannot cancel you. And you can change beneficiaries whenever you want. So I want you to sit and think. We got to draw a picture for them. So when you're making that presentation and making it go smooth, what you're doing is that you're increasing your trust meter. Excuse me. Now, lastly, what you got to know your products. You can't go to a house and say, yeah, Joe, I want to buy this here, and that's something I want to buy. And they say, are you a diabetic? I'm a diabetic. And you say, okay, fantastic, no big deal. You can do a pill or a shot. I do a pill. So now you're saying, I'm going to go to Mutual Home Hall. Mutual Home Hall, you can give them an immediate benefit, and they're going to sit and say, man, oh my Joe, that's a great price. You're going to submit it in. And they were diagnosed as a diabetic before age 50 on their application. Client's going to get a graded program instead of an immediate one. You're going to want to give them that will with rural neighbors because you like rural neighbors because they get a free will and some other tricks and stuff. Yet they started insulin prior to age 30. So you need to know your application. You need to ask the questions. You can't shortcut. You can't deviate. You can't go out and left. How's your health? Fine. But no. You can't do that, guys. You got to ask the questions. Pick a carrier. The carrier I like picking out is rural neighbors. Pick rural neighbors out. Know the application backwards, forwards, left, right, up, and down. Don't go over the benefits yet because they may not qualify for it. Yet know the application. So from there, if they say, yes, I'm a diabetic, you know, before 30. Can I ask you when you started your medication for diabetes? I was 27. Was it a pill or was it a shot? So it's kind of like a drill down. I had a heart attack. 2-year look back. How long ago was it? I had cancer 4 years ago. Great, it's only a 2-year look back. But yet, you got to know that when you ask the cancer question, it's not a 2-year look back on when they're diagnosed. It's a 2-year look back when they had their last treatment, their last chemo, their last radiation, their last. That's got to be a 2-year look back there. That's going to make your presentation go smoother because now you're sitting there, you're sitting back, you're going, okay. And now you're saying, had a heart attack 3 years ago, they had cancer 1 year ago, they're a diabetic on insulin, and they got this, and this. So what you got to do is that you got to figure out what is the worst that they just told you. Agent called me last week, said, Joe, I got a client that really wants to buy some insurance. They're in great health, Joe. They look great. She's 72 years old. She goes shopping. She still works part-time. The only medication that she's on is that she's on a high blood pressure medication, and she takes only a 10 milligram cholesterol pill. And as I said, he goes, oh, no. She has oxygen. She uses it only as needed at nighttime to sleep. Oxygen. That's called guaranteed issue. So it does not matter if they do a little bit or a lot, or they quit it last week. If they're currently on oxygen, some carriers say within the last 6 months, it's a guaranteed issue. So when you hear a client's history, don't sit and say, well, they're in great health, there's nothing wrong with them, height, weight is great, they're only on blood pressure, they're only on cholesterol, Joe's only 10 milligram, and also oxygen. So you got to figure out what are the worst illnesses somebody can have and work from the worst to the best. Oxygen, HIV, confined to a wheelchair, nursing home, paralyzed. Those are some of the ones that are going to be a waiting period. Had cancer last week, diagnosed with cancer, going through cancer treatments now. Lady called me yesterday, said, Joe, I want to add coverage to my insurance. She said, I presently got a policy with rural neighbors. I like them a lot. They're great. Their prices are fantastic. I want to add to it. I said, fantastic. I said, hold on a minute. Let me have Jay pull your paperwork up. Jay pulls it up, puts it in front of me. She got it from me 3 years ago. We started talking. One thing led to another. She's all happy. She's all this. She wants to buy. Joe, I just want to get another $5,000. No big deal, Joe. I said, okay, great. How's your health? Oh, it's fine. I said, well, let me ask you the health questions. She's presently going through cancer treatments now. So what happens is that people want to buy when there's a problem. So you need to make sure that you incorporate that in a conversation. When people say, well, I want to think about it, and today's not a good day, it costs too much money. Before they get to that point, I'm going to recommend you to tell them, let me tell you how this works. It's based on your health today. Let me tell you about a client of mine last week that called me and gave them the story I just gave you. She wanted to buy some more. She had the money to buy it, yet she couldn't get immediate benefits. She had a 2-year waiting period because she waited because she couldn't afford it. Now it's something she can't afford, but she's going to find money for it because she's presently going through cancer treatments. I don't want that to happen to you. So let me kind of go over with you how these programs work. So we can get you something today while you're in your best health, you're at your youngest age, and I can get you immediate benefits to where you save money and it gives you peace of mind. Peace of mind for you and your kids. Product is important, rebuttals are important. I can't afford it, I want to think about it, can't use my checking account, don't have time to go over that stuff on the phone with you today, on the call today, yet you need to know things. So I'm going to give you guys some homework. And you may call me and we can go over this stuff here. Write down, I cannot afford it, and you can't use my checking account, and I want to think about it. I can't afford it, can't use my checking account, and I want to think about it. Write down 5 rebuttals for each one. And I want you to start practicing those there. Okay? Start practicing those. So when you go to a client's house and they tell you, Joe, I just can't afford this here. I just can't afford this here. So you may sit back and say, well, why can't you afford it? You're not going to say, why can't you afford it? You may sit and say, well, is this something you cannot afford? Or is this something you do not want to afford? So what you want to do is that when you're speaking with a client and they say, this is way too much money, don't sit and say, well, let me lower the premiums to where something's more affordable for you. When they say there's something that they can't afford, what do you mean you can't afford it? Okay? Find out the reason why they're saying this here. Because what happens if you're trying to accomplish a goal and convince them why they are saying that there, you got to know the real reason that they're saying it. You can't just pull something out of the air and start saying bam, bam, bam. So you need to, when they ask you or say something, I can't afford it, you can't use my checking account, or I need to think about it, you need to take, as we call, a soft step backwards and kind of ask them in a nice way, well, why did you say that? What made you pull that response out of the air? Okay, guys, I'm going to let you go. 5 key points to make a smooth presentation. I'm going to say it one more time. Hit the road, practice, write down the rebuttals we just talked about. Think before you speak. Slow down. Speak with the client, engage in a conversation with them. When you break the ice, you can go to the back office for a survey sheet, do a warm warm-up with them. Engage in a conversation with them towards a back and forth conversation. Facts, data, the 12-inch rule, the heart and the soul. And lastly, probably one of the most important things is to know your products, no rebuttals, because not everybody's going to sit and say, yes, Marie, yes, Frank, I want to buy from you. So with that said, make it a great day. We'll see you on the call tomorrow. Drive safe, and as always, we appreciate your hard work in your business. Call us if you need us. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.